In this video, we're going to show you how to replace the high pressure power steering line. This fits 2005 to 2010 Chrysler 300 models, rear wheel drive. It's located right here, coming out of your power steering rack. I'm going to start by using an 18mm wrench on this nut right here going into our steering rack. You want to have a catch can underneath because once we open this up, power steering fluid will start coming out of the line and the rack. Here we go. I'm just going to work that gently back and forth. On our power steering connector right here, there's going to be an O-ring on here. You want to make sure that it's on your line and not stuck in the rack. Go ahead and let that hose drain out. Now if you follow the power steering lines up, there's the high pressure line on the right side here. The return, or this line here, actually goes to our power steering cooler. Right in the very center, there's a clamp unit that is being held in place by a 10mm bolt. So we're going to use our swivel head ratchet and our 10mm socket. Get up in there. We want to loosen and remove that bolt holding that clamp. Spin that bolt out. And with that bolt out, you go ahead and lift this up, and each line is its own separate tab. Now on the center top part of our cross member here, the high pressure power steering line comes across and there's a clamp right here. We're just going to push our lower radiator hose up out of the way, get our 10mm socket on there. Let's go ahead and loosen and remove that. For clearance purposes, if you have the availability to use these here, use a gear wrench with a swivel head. That'll pop right on in there. Make things a little bit easier. Go ahead and pop that up. Remove the bolt holding that in place. Go ahead and disconnect the air temp sensor right here. There's a red locking clip. You want to go ahead and push that back. Once that's back, you can press in on the little spring tab here, pinch and pull. Next, you want to go ahead and loosen the two hose clamps securing the air intake tube in place. Go ahead and wiggle this off. Set that aside. On the back side of our air intake box here, there's a vacuum hose. Simply just go ahead, pop that off. I want to go ahead and remove this upper cover here for the air box. There's two little spring clips on the front. I want to go ahead and press in on those there. Unlock that lid. Pop out your air filter. Remove this 10mm bolt on the front, securing the box in place. You now go ahead and grab that box and pull that out. Now you want to go ahead and access the hose or the metal line going into the side of your power steering pump right here. Let's go ahead and use our 18mm. And let's go ahead and loosen that hose here, or that line. At this point here, we can go ahead and loosen this nut until the line is separated from the pump. Now you may have some residual fluid that comes out of this here. I want to go ahead and take precautions and put some towels underneath here as well. Go ahead and give that a wiggle. There is an O-ring in there that is securing that in place. At this point here, we can go ahead and feed that line down through the bottom. At this point here, we're going to go ahead and grab the line that we pulled out of the rack. And we're going to go ahead and start working this back and out, working the metal line and the hoses out over the top of the steering rack. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put a piece of tape over the end of our hose here. We're going to be pushing this up to the power steering pump, and I don't want to have debris go inside that hose there. Let's go ahead and start feeding this up over our steering rack, across the cross member, on our connections here. We want to go ahead and install the new O-ring that comes with the unit. I'm going to take a little bit of the power steering fluid here, put it on the seal. I'm going to go ahead and line this up, and I'm just going to go ahead and get the nut started here, a few threads. Now you want to be careful when installing this. You do not want to cross thread that, so make sure that that nut is going in nice and easy. And we're going to thread that in as far as we can by hand. Now we have our power steering line here. I'm going to install a new O-ring on this end right here. I'm going to put a little bit of power steering fluid on the O-ring right here. Insert that into our pump and get that nut started. Thread that in as far as you can by hand, and then we'll follow up by tightening it down with a wrench. You do want to make sure that this is pretty snug because this is the high pressure side. So once that nut bottoms out, just give it a little bit more. Go ahead and remove our drip towel here. Let's go ahead and tighten down the lower unit. Now you are going into aluminum here, so you want to be careful not to over tighten it. Once that nut bottoms out, just give it a little bit more. Go ahead, wipe this down. Now up here we have our clamp to hold down our line. I'm going to install the bolt up top here. And just go ahead and snug this bolt down into place. Install your tie strap here. And cut off the excess. Grab the lower portion of your air box, line that up and push that down into place. Once that's in place, install your 10mm bolt, and we'll snug that down. Grab your air filter, drop that down into place, grab the lid. You're going to go ahead and install these 3 tabs into the back side of the box. Push it down, and these front tabs should lock in. Install the vacuum hose on the back side of the box. Install the air intake tube. Tighten down the hose clamps. Connect your connector. Press the lock down. At this point here, I'm going to go ahead and fill up the power steering reservoir. Once that's filled up, go ahead and start up the vehicle, crank that steering wheel left and right, go ahead and check for any leaks.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.